So let's talk about some ways. How do we think there are some ways that the cycle can be broken of staying or feeling like you have to be addicted to these
struggles?
Yeah.
I just did it. Vulnerability alert.
Yeah. So for the audience, you did talk about your trust. So that's a vulnerable moment. I think you're right. I think that people, first of all, you got to acknowledge it, right? So I think that is the first piece. I think that if you have kids, because they see how we interact, they see how we operate, and whether we like it or not, sometimes they pick up some of those traits. So if we're tight with money, or I ain't gonna get, you better do this, they're gonna be doing the same thing, So I think it's about having the dialogue and talking about it, acknowledging it like you just mentioned, and also talking about it and saying, hey, this is not, maybe you should shift your mindset.
Welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Aunties podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Key.
And I'm Jay, where we keep it real,
and relatable.
All right, by sharing our experiences,
our opinions,
and our feelings.
Yes. Okay. And today's topic.
Let's get into it, ladies. We are talking about
finding comfort in hardship, because ease is super unfamiliar.
Child, yes.
Like being addicted to the struggle.
Why are people that way?
Why are they that way? It's because that's something that they're used to.
It's comfort,
right? They find comfort in it. They get scared of it. I think a lot of it is being in the comfort zone. They may want to get success, but I think fear is the underlying thing that prevents them.
Fear of what? Fear of not struggling, fear of not having a struggle, like having the means to be and do whatever it is you want to do and not having to work hard for it.
That could be. They embrace that ease and comfort.
They don't know how to, because they love to be in that struggle. Like for people who like to grind and feel like you have to do everything twice as hard.
Well, when I was saying fear, I was thinking more along the lines of like it lends itself to like self-sabotage.
Okay.
Right? Because what ends up happening is, I think, like your nervous system associates success with being seen. And if you don't want to be seen, you're going to dim your light. You kind of want that. You want to be out there and get it.
Right.
But you're like, oh, but they may see me. So then you like...
That's not funny, but it's the way you set it up. But it's the truth.
It's the truth. It's your nervous system, right? So your nervous system is telling you, if you put yourself out there, they're all gonna laugh at you. They're gonna judge you.
But there are successful people who don't have to be seen. I know plenty of people who are. Well, I don't know them personally, but people know how to stay behind.
Right. So sometimes, mostly some introverts just play behind the scenes, but even then they still had to turn it on. Like I always say, it's kind of like if I turn on all my lights, they're gonna see me.
But think about it, the ones that do stay in the background, don't you think that's what they be feeling, regardless of how successful they are?
Yeah, but they're happy in their success, but they're staying out of the limelight. It's the people who are not finding comfort in their success or comfort in having things not be so hard.
Right.
They want to keep finding ways to just...
They self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And I think, and I still think it's just fearful. You, like if I win, goodness, what's that going to bring for me? It's almost like you want to win, but it's like, what happens when I do? What do I do now? Right? So I think that's why sometimes they start to... The self-sabotage comes in with the overthinking. Like let's say you want to launch something, or you want to put yourself out there and do whatever. It could be it could be a podcast, right? But it's self-sabotage when you start overthinking, start nitpicking things, start delaying things, start procrastinating because you're still scared.
Yeah.
Or they're just not used to...
It's new.
Yeah, it's new, right? They have to adjust. Like I think it's people also a trust thing, right? They have to be involved in every aspect of everything. Like to remove yourself from certain things, to allow people to do things for you, takes away that struggle, takes away you always having to be the person to go do and say everything. Letting that go is hard for some people. Like, so they're always involved in every piece of every aspect of everything, and that's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And I think one thing I also say, I think some of it is it's innate and it's taught as we're kids, right? Again, if you're in the limelight, you're a target. If you stand out, I should say, not limelight. If you stand out, think about it. When you were a kid, let's say you wore something different than everybody else is wearing. That's you standing out. You're a target. So it's no different from you being struggling. You doing something different to try to get out of the struggle, but you're kind of subconsciously scared, like, oh, if I make it, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna do? So you start sabotaging, and I think our nervous system associates that with danger. Exposure, visibility equals exposure. Exposure equals risk. Risk is it becomes dangerous. That's my take. Yeah.
What about barriers to happiness?
What do you mean?
They associate happiness with struggling, because if everything is going okay, they can't handle that.
Yeah.
So they look for struggle and things that's constantly putting obstacles in their way to show or feel happy.
So if I'm understanding you, like, meaning that you're, again, the self-sabotaging, because you're so used to the struggle that you start to make things harder for yourself.
Yeah. And by doing that, they feel, I guess, at home. They feel like everything is going good because they're struggling. If they don't have no struggle, it's too quiet, it's too boring.
I see what you're saying now.
So they gotta find
That means something's gonna, the next shoe's gonna drop.
Yeah.
See, I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying now. No, that's a real thing, because if you are constantly in struggle, and then when things are going well, and you're like, oh,
These are too quiet.
something's gonna happen, something's gonna go down.
I can't do this. I need something.
Yeah.
And they find something to struggle.
When everything is moving smoothly, there's no issue. Like, it can't possibly be, because they've never experienced that
Peace.
before.
That peace.
Exactly. This is not right. It's too quiet.
No, that's a real thing.
That's a real
That's a real thing. And I think sometimes that the person got to just sit with it and check themselves. Like, why do you feel like you need it to be something burning, putting out a fire? Because they've always been doing that.
Yeah.
Or because they need to feel needed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So they have to be the problem solver. They go and actively seek things.
Just to make sure that they are the ones, they're the fixers.
You might be onto something there. Actually. The need
That's
to
a
feel
narcissistic trait.
the need to feel that someone needs them. So they start to.
They have to have all the answers. They're the go-to person, because I think it's has to do with something with that too.
So I wonder what the underlying issue is there. I get the need to feel needed, but I wonder.
It's not even just feel
something
needed,
else.
but also be the one that resolves the issue. The savior. The savior.
So I gotta look at that. Is it a savior complex? I don't know if that's a real thing. I just made it.
No, I think there is something out there.
It is for sure.
Yeah,
That's a narcissistic trait.
Yeah, to be the.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Is there anything that you're struggling with that you're trying to leave behind? Anything that's unsettling or unraveling that you are continuing to keep fostering a flame under?
I guess being comfortable in front of the camera, that's a struggle for me. I mean, I enjoy when we do the podcast, and I'm getting more better at not feeling so insecure about being in front of the camera.
So you still feel like it's more difficult than it actually should be, because you're doing it now.
I am. It's gotten better, but it's still like a number one struggle for me, because I'm putting myself out here. I mean, really.
So that ties into the fear, right? Because of being seen and judged. I think for me, I don't think that there's anything that am I still struggling with this? I don't think so. But there used to be a mindset that I have that I no longer have. So I'm trying to challenge myself. Do I still have it? I don't think so. But with the scarcity mindset, where it's like, let me hoard this money because I ain't gonna get it again. Or if you do get a bunch of money, I got to spend it on this because I may not get it again. And reality is, when you have that scarcity mindset, that you do tame things, but you mess it up because you don't think you could do it again. And now I have a mindset of abundance. Like, things are going to flow to me. And I know that to be true. It's been proven. Like, when you think the world is good, the world is kind, I treat myself kind, I put out to the world, I reap it, come back tenfold, right? If I constantly tell that to myself and I move in that direction and act in that way, I find that the little things, that shit adds up and it does come back, So I try to, anytime having that scarcity mindset, it does force you to struggle more. Think big.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem. And you know what? I think up to 2020, even though I had peaks and valleys, but I have an abundance mindset, scarcity, I would, it's like something will pull me back. Mm-hmm. I know I can have a lot. No, you bitch, you ain't gonna get no more. You know, I know that. And no, seriously. So I think in 2020, I was like, nah, I can't live like this, because you start to, you're not thinking big.
Yeah.
Thinking instantly. You know, for real, when that shit came out, you gotta think big. I loved it. I like everything he said was accurate.
Yeah. I think to your point is like mindset plays a big factor in everything. Mm-hmm. And then people who do have that scarcity mindset had the opportunity, they've experienced abundance, didn't know what to do with it, struggle with it, put themselves back in the situation of where they had to go back into that scarcity mindset, because now they're struggling again from a financial perspective, because they didn't know what to do with the money that they got. So I can get that, how you can go back and forth in that mindset if you're not doing all the things to keep the abundance happening and staying in that mindset. For me, mine is still the challenge is feeling like I got to do everything.
What do you mean?
Like if I want things to get done, I need to do it myself.
Yeah.
Asking for help is challenging for me, because I don't want to be let down or disappointed. So that to me sometimes causes me to struggle on things where I probably wouldn't have to struggle, because if had I asked for the help and trusted that the help was going to happen, then I probably wouldn't be struggling in certain things.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's little things, right? So y'all called me out on it last taping when I was bringing in the supplies, the equipment. And I think one of y'all said, why didn't you just ask me to help you, the car, couldn't find parking or whatever. And it's that mindset of, I could just do, I'm independent, all the woman independent. But it's the reality, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why are you struggling having to make multiple trips when you have other two able bodies in here that could just come and get the thing, But I think it goes back to maybe as childhood when you tried to depend on people and they let you down. So now you feel like you just gotta.
Mine's is more in adulthood.
Really?
Asking people for help, and because I'm always, I'm for the most part, I'm there to help, especially when I'm able and I can do it. And then to be someone who rarely asks for help, and then you ask for help because that's when you really need it, and have somebody give you the him and a han situation, my feelings be hurt. I be feeling messed up inside because I'm like, really? And it could be the smallest thing, it could be the biggest thing, it don't matter. It's the fact that I've asked for help, and the one time that I actually really need it and I was let down. Yeah, so I struggle to ask for help for that. So yeah. And there's times I struggle when I shouldn't have to, because had I not let that thing from back then keep me thinking that everyone's going to do that to me. Ask for help when I need it for the people who are really going to come through for me. And I won't have to struggle. But I'm choosing to struggle sometimes.
I guess I can piggyback off of you with that one. It was, you guys pointed out to me about the trust issue, and that plays a big part in why I feel a lot of the times, not just, this is with everyone. This is with everyone. I've always had to depend on myself, because a couple of times that I did ask for help, I was disappointed. So I just always trust that I'm the person that's gonna get it done.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I know that's something I need to work on. So,
yeah. So let's talk about some ways. How do we think there are some ways that the cycle can be broken of staying or feeling like you have to be addicted to these
struggles?
Yeah.
I just did it. Vulnerability alert.
Yeah. But so just for the audience, you did talk about your trust. So that's a vulnerable moment. I think you're right. I think that people, first of all, you got to acknowledge it, right? So I think that is the first piece. I think that if you have kids because they see how we interact, they see how we operate, and whether we like it or not, sometimes they pick up some of those traits. So if we're tight with money, or I ain't gonna get, you better do this, they're gonna be doing the same thing, So I think it's about having the dialogue and talking about it, acknowledging it like you just mentioned, and also talking about it and saying, hey, this is not, maybe you should shift your mindset. Now with that being said, I also would say sometimes when you're trying to get yourself out of the struggle and you take advice from folks, I think we need to be mindful who we take advice from.
Yes.
Because everybody, like what are we taking advice from people that ain't never been where you trying to go? Right. That don't make sense to me. But people do it all the time because of the proximity the closeness of how long they knew the person.
Right.
Yeah.
They take that and they value that, and they assume that's loyal. You know, I knew you for a long time. I'm loyal to you, and you know, I take advice from you because I believe what you said. But what they give me advice for, they ain't never did that shit.
Right.
Excuse me, they never did it before. So what?
People love to get advice for things they ain't never experienced before.
Yeah, you know, seriously. So it's like, why would I even?
And they talk like true experts too.
Yeah, it's like, why would I listen to if you never did it? Now, some theoretically they may have an opinion, but I think far too often people take advice from folks that never been where they trying to go, and then that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you got to ask yourself, how do you feel when you're not struggling? Does it feel good?
That too.
I feel at peace.
Do you feel good? And
Yeah.
and then challenge the discomfort. Challenge, like, why do you have to, like me, like I'm getting to a point where I'm learning to ask for help regardless, whatever the outcome is going to be. Ask for the help. Don't always think everybody's going to say no or let you down. Ask for the help.
Yeah.
But and then when you get, like, when I get that help, I'm like, oh, damn, I should have did that a long time ago, you know, kind of thing. So I feel like I start to appreciate the feeling of not being in a struggle. And I think that's financially, I think that's emotionally, in any kind of capacity. If you're struggling in any type of area and you got out of that struggle, like, find peace. I mean, enjoy that peaceful moment. So embrace it.
So it's about changing your mindset, right?
Yeah.
So whether that's, to your point, you know, being self-aware, or if you're not able to see it, because sometimes we can't see what our own flaws because we don't sit with ourselves long enough to realize, yeah, I do that, or I don't do that, or whatever. Maybe therapy helps, because I think when we don't fix the mindset and we're scared of whether it's putting ourselves out there to try something new, you know, again, with the self-sabotage, you are preventing the world from seeing your best work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're robbing them of seeing, and that's a gift that you have to give to the world that may be something that could be life-changing, but you're so afraid that you're robbing. You're holding yourself back from a promotion, an audition, entrepreneurship, all those things, because you don't want to be seen.
So you talk about that. So I have a question. Like, do you think people who feel like they have to struggle, like struggling equals success?
Some people do, because there's a culture around that.
Yeah.
There's the struggle culture, the hustle culture.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people definitely, like, if I ain't getting out the mud, it ain't, you know, but the reality is you don't have to be, like, there's a
All of
cultural
the time.
Yeah, there's a cultural glorification of grind mode. And I fell into that, like, even in the corporate side, like, because I felt like in order for me to climb the ladder, I gotta grind. And the reality is, I think for Black women, that is in corporate America, that is a fact.
Yeah.
So whether you can call it what you want, but it is a grind to get to climb that ladder. So I did feel that, but I was getting burnt out.
Yeah, working them late night hours,
you know. And yes, you can get compensated for it, but it's like, you know, I remember going on vacation sometimes and I'm still answering emails and stuff like that.
Yep.
And, you know, my husband, he's been patient with me, but it's like, now when I think back, it's, you know, I'm in a conflict. Like, okay, if I didn't do that, then maybe I wouldn't have gotten to the level I did. But it's also an internal conflict. Like, dude, when's the rest?
and at the end of the day, is it worth it? And I was told this, listen, because I used to take like days here, 1 week here. Really took 2 weeks off at a time. Taking 1 week off still allows for the work that you left behind and still be there when you get back. Taking 2 weeks off, somebody will have to probably step in where you would have sat there until you got back. And you have support and you have backups for those reasons, for you to take your time off. You work with a team for those reasons, for you to take the time off. Stuff's not going to fall through the crack. And if it did, you can't take the blame for it because you have a team there. The same way you step up for your team when they're out for 2 weeks, they should be stepping up for you. As long as you have your checks and balances, when you walk out that door and you know you did everything that you needed to do, take your time off and detach. But we is in that mindset of grind, having to show and prove that we didn't detach properly. So I take my 2 weeks now. I'm in a position, I'm taking some time off every quarter.
I know that's right.
Whether it's a day or 2 weeks or a week.
That's why I feel the way I feel where work is concerned about when you're on vacation, there shouldn't be no cell phones, there shouldn't be no tablet, no computer, no nothing. If you taking off a week, don't call me.
Let me tell you something.
If you taking off 2 weeks, definitely don't call me. Don't send me no emails, no nothing. And the same goes with everybody in my team.
Yeah.
There was a time, at least in my company, there was a time where you couldn't log on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you were expected to be on vacation, you were not allowed to log on. And I think this is when the laptops first came out, and you got the, what do you call it, the little that was to log in or whatever. They would collect them. If you were on a vacation if you were out of the office for more than 1 or 2 days, you had to turn that in so you didn't log in.
Wow.
I wish they kept that same concept, because now you have to force that concept.
Because the expectations change for you. They expect you to be available all the time.
Because they realized the laptops when they first came out and the cell phones,
Easy
to
access.
contact them after 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even that, the other thing too is like, yes, there are certain companies that they'll answer you or send you a text, or so, I shouldn't say companies, people in those companies,
Right, so people
that will message you when you're on vacation, or call her because I need this, or
I'm sorry to bother you.
Yeah, but then you got to ask yourself, like, what is it that if you are the one answering constantly, if you feel the need to answer, it's like, there's a fear. If I don't do this, someone's going to take my joint. If I don't do this, I'm not going to get here. If I don't do this, there's that fear, so.
And you're also setting an expectation from the people that are sending you that message.
That you're available, that you're available. Yeah. Yes. So that's something also too, I think. Like I said, I think that there's a culture grind. But I also think that there are people that, on the flip side, when we talk about like Black folk and people of color that struggle in the inner cities, there's a sentiment that you have to, that that's your rites of passage.
Right.
And I think sometimes parents put that on their kids. Like, if I had to do this, you got to do it too. And it's like,
got to work hard to get to where you want to go.
But you do all these sacrifices for your kids, so that they don't have to do those things so long as they're putting in the work.
And that's the message that's not coming across. The only message that you're conveying is the message to struggle and grind. It's not the message. You're not saying the message of enjoy the fruits of your labor. Like, you hardly ever hear people say that. Like, work hard, play hard. I mean, very few people say that.
I say that shit. I play hard, damn it.
But it's funny. You gotta look at it this way. By you saying that you're working hard so your children don't have to, that's also sending mixed signals. Because you have a lot of kids this generation that think they ain't got to work.
Well, they
ain't got to do nothing.
Well,
whatever you did, I hope you left me something behind, and things like. And I know we're gonna talk about that in another podcast, but it just, to me, sometimes send mixed signals.
This has to be a balance, right? So they have to earn their keep.
Yes.
They should understand that piece of it. But you also want to make sure that they're enjoying what they're doing. My message has been, enjoy what you're going to do, because the money's going to come.
Yes.
The money is going to make its way there.
And can I just say something, not to cut you off, but I remember reading about that when I was younger, like in my 20s.
I wish I
pick something that you like. Literally, I read. I don't remember the book, but I was like in my early 20s. Pick something that you enjoy doing. And this was when I was at a crossroad. I was still in corporate America, but I actually thought about going to be a teacher. I didn't know what I was. Early 20s, only had 2 kids, and I was just like, what? I don't know. This is not fulfilling. I'm getting paid, but I'm not loving it. Yeah. And I read something that said, find your joy, and the money will come. And it is freaking hard to do that. And then I'm one that I like money. Okay, so because let's be clear, money buys you freedom.
Yeah.
Yes,
and nobody could debate me on that one.
Yes.
So I was in that grind. I got to get it. That is like, well, if I like to do this and that ain't getting paid, that's why I ain't going to teach them. Like, they get paid. What? Get the hell out of here. I ain't getting it. So,
but some of them teachers travel more than some of these people who are grinding.
No, I get it, but I just didn't see where it would work out for me. So, because, I'm helping, I got married, 2 kids, I got to help with this household, and I can't take a step back in compensation. So it's like, it's very hard. But it's true.
It's true. I mean, we all learn
true that you can do it, but that's a sacrifice unless you're clean slate.
Right.
Which is, to your point, you tell your kids, because
I tell my kids, but do what you love. The money will come.
It will.
Me too, in the same situation. Married, young kids, working a job that I said I was going to be there for 2 years. I literally said I was going to be there for 2 years. I'm not going to tell you how long. But anyways, came along, marriage, all those things. So now you're doing things because now you have to support a family. It's not because you love this job and you're not thinking that how do I figure out to do what I love and still take care of this family? So I'm telling my kids now, do what you love and be smart, because people who are, and I'm not saying people who have opted don't make that pay what we make or whatever are doing what they absolutely love, but I know they're doing jobs with less pay and they're still enjoying certain things that we still could have enjoyed, you know, that we're enjoying now. They travel, they have their own homes, they're building generational wealth, they're doing all those things.
But it's also, I think too, it played, like, having that mindset I had back then also contributed to, like, the scarcity mindset. Because I was like, well, I gotta do this here because I got this, right? So why take a chance? Even though I had considered, I was trying to figure out, like, what is it that I want to do? Because this is not it, you know? But what held me there was the fact that, oh, well, it's a good job, you know, I get paid, so let me just grind it out. And that's not always the way, because that whole what am I meant to do, or what am I trying to do, or what do I really want to do, that will rear its head. If it ain't, you don't figure it out in your 20s, it's gonna come up again in your 30s, it's gonna come up again in your 40s. I'm pretty sure it's gonna come up again in my 50s. You know, if I haven't figured out what is it that I'm meant to do in terms of getting out whatever gifts I have to the world. So I think, to your point though, if that's the best advice, but it's just so hard to follow, like follow your true passions or try to figure out what you want to do.
And I was going to say, if you have a true passion for it, go for it, because you're going to always keep thinking that what if is going to always stay there. What if I had lived my dream and did the thing that I love and wanted to do? Who knows, you know? So I say, go out there and do what you want. I mean, be mindful and be responsible in that, because you're going to continue to grow and be an adult, God willing. You're going to incur certain things that you're going to have to be taken care of with whatever that passion is, but it can be done. So I say do it.
I is a forensic scientist.
But it's going to take a longer time, but you can still do it.
Yeah, no, it's too late for that.
Who says it's never too late?
It's never too late. You can, if that's what you want, if you can do it. Now you might have to
I got close, a forensic accountant, so
you might get,
sacrifice some salary because you got to start from the bottom.
Sometimes it be like that.
And sometimes, you know what, sometimes that's okay too, because now you're always taking care of you. You're not taking care of no family. You're just taking care of you. So sometimes you can make that financial sacrifice. Not, you may not want to, but you can, because you're just taking care of you and not anybody else. You may not be able to travel as much, but hey, getting to do what you love.
Absolutely. I think sometimes too, some people choose comfort because it's easy, right? The reality is, choosing comfort over discomfort does not necessarily lead to a comfortable life.
Right.
And I say that again, choosing comfort over discomfort don't necessarily need to lead to a comfortable life, because you still gotta grind.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You still gotta try to figure this out. And then that's when the uncomfortability plays a part. But you thinking everything is easy, I don't want to do it, I want to rock the boat. Whereas if you'd have just took that extra step, you might have elevated yourself against that. So I think that's something that people don't necessarily always think about.
Yep, I agree.
So I have a fun fact.
Let's get into it.
So it says some people unconsciously find comfort in hardship because their brains have become wired to equate struggle with safety.
Yes.
This happens when stress and chaos are constantly in early life. So over time, the brain releases dopamine, not only from positive events, but also from surviving tough situations. It's a phenomenon tied to what's known as trauma bonding or struggle addiction. Essentially, calm feels unfamiliar, while chaos feels like home.
Yeah.
So if peace feels boring, congrats. You might have been emotionally sponsored by childhood survival mode.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Sounds about right to me.
I agree.
Sounds about right to me.
Do you have an unpopular opinion?
I have a few. And it lends to your fun fact, actually. So it says some people are addicted to struggle because they don't know how to function without chaos.
Okay.
Which comes back into your fun fact. Rest is productive, but some folks use it as an excuse for laziness. So they think that if we're not doing anything, we're being lazy. We're not getting something done, we're being lazy. Being strong all the time is overrated. Soft life should be a real goal. I'm working on it, people.
Yes, same here.
Last one. Struggle stories shouldn't be a badge badge of honor. Thriving should be celebrated too. I agree with that.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Story time, but this is not a story. It's just something I wanted to share from a post that I saw, and I thought it was real good. It's a post that I saw from a woman named Becoming Lakeisha, and I'm sharing it because I felt like it's a word. It's pretty much on point. So she wrote, "Many of you are coming out of survival mode this year. You've been robbing Peter to pay Paul, stretching every dollar, and doing what you got to do to make it. And I know you messed up some money. Okay? You fumbled some opportunities, but guess what? God is still giving you another chance. Provision is coming. Stability is coming. You won't have to live in a constant state of barely enough. This is your year to start to change. It's so really up to you." So leading with that, I think this has been a good one.
I think it's been a really good one. So I definitely, everything that we said here, our fun facts, our unpopular opinions, our story time, just sense the fact that we were all on point with this topic. I feel like it may be a timely topic.
Yeah, that's time out. It's hard out here for folks.
I don't know where we're gonna land with this current situation, but hey,
And that's the thing.
stay the course, people.
Stay the course, and just know that you are in control in creating the life that you want to live. Don't matter who's in administration, don't matter who's the president, don't matter none of that stuff. And I'm only speaking for folks here in the States, because obviously in other countries is something different, and we do have viewers in other countries, but you really control your fate. It's up to you. Okay?
Yep.
With that,
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers to another episode of the Not Your Average Auntie podcast.
like it. All right.